Whenever I was young, I used to try to make up magic tricks with literally anything I could find around the house. Literally anything. And I'm talking when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I would try to come up with these tricks. And I remember seeing a really weird looking thing in my dad's toolbox. It was this box. And I think the purpose of it was to put different nuts and bolts in here, different sizes, so you can kind of separate a few. And you put the lid on top so they won't fall out. And then it had some holes in the side so you could drill it to the side of your toolbox, so that you had this little container that would sit there and allowed you to get your nuts and bolts and keep them nice and separated and organized. But I saw this thing and I thought it was the coolest little contraption ever. And I said, that looks like a magic trick. So I grabbed some of the bolts, some of the nuts, and of course the box from the toolbox. And I ran upstairs and went to my room and started trying to practice a trick, try to come up with a trick using these items. And I found a ring that I had, because I loved magic at the time, so I had a ring with hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. And I grabbed it and I thought, okay, I'm going to come up with a trick with this. Well, I started off by taking a bolt, one of the bolts that my dad had in the toolbox, and putting it through the 2 holes that were in the box. And then I took a nut and I screwed it on. Now, of course, at this point, I had literally no idea what the trick was going to be. I just had a bolt tightened onto a plastic box. And then I thought, okay, I'll do that again. I'll take a bolt and I'll put it through the box like that, and I'll nut it. And now I have something which is cool looking and almost looks like a magic trick. Oops, if I can get the nut on. I remember that being the hardest part when I was the kid, trying to get the nut on. I think my dad had to do one even. There we go. So now I had 2 bolts. And this is when I have my stroke of genius. I decided to take the last bolt, stick it through halfway, and then actually take my favorite ring, my magical ring, put it inside through the bolt, and then put the bolt through the other end. And now, of course, put the nut on to hold it in place nice and tightly. There we go. Okay, whoops. Nice and tight. There we go. And my ring really was on. I just stuck the bolt right through it, and it was genuinely on there. It wasn't like a trick bolt or a trick ring or anything. It was just my ring on a bolt. And now I had the problem, oh, of course I put the lid on. I didn't want to lose anything. And I thought, okay, this looks like a magic trick. Still had no clue what the trick was, but at least it looks like a magic trick. So now I had to come up with a trick. Well, my ring's on a bolt in the box, so it would be cool if I can make it disappear, but I have literally no way to do that. And then all of a sudden it hit me. I know the trick. I ran to my mom's room, I grabbed one of her beautiful scarves, and I ran up to my dad. I said, Dad, I came up with a trick, you have to see it. Okay, watch my ring, it's up here. Watch. Abracadabra. Look, Dad, it's down there. Ta-da! Of course, my dad was not impressed. And just like you're not impressed. So I said, okay, Dad, I'll do it again. Maybe you didn't see it. The ring is down here. And watch, I'll take Mom's scarf and look. Abracadabra. Ta-da! The ring's up to the top. Now, my dad wasn't impressed. But, being the magician I am now, I like to reinvent things. If I had made this trick in today's time, I would do it a little more like this. And make the ring actually jump to the middle bolt. Yes, it genuinely is on the middle bolt, right from the bottom, right to the middle. And the crazy thing is, if I did this in today's time, if I could think of a method that worked, I would be able to let the person check out the bolt, check out the nut of each and every one of the nuts and bolts. If I can get this thing off of here, come on. Get off, there we go. I tightened it a little too tight. If I could just get all the nuts and bolts out of the box, even the one with the ring, nice and tightly attached, even that one, I would be able to hand all of these to somebody watching and say, check it out, and even check out your ring, and even check out the box. And they still wouldn't be able to know how I did my trick. I don't know. Maybe one day I can find a solution.